everyone, and welcome to our show, It Takes a Village. The show is created to provide information and support to foster and adoptive families. We have created this show as part of an outreach effort to publicize foster, kinship care, and adoptive care, and to potentially recruit additional families that may be interested in foster care, and to provide some insights and perspectives from different families who are involved with foster care. The topics and issues that we discuss on the show are provided by people who are involved with foster and kinship care, just like you. So today's show, we're going to focus specifically on supports and what supports mean, and the different types of supports that are available within our state for folks with, that are involved in foster care. Our guest today is Rachel Briggs, and Rachel is a foster and adoptive mom that's been involved in the system for about 10 years. So welcome to the show, Rachel. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
All right. So let's start. What does support actually mean for families? What is that? When we say that word, what does that mean?
So support for families. If I may first, before I answer the question, I looked up the word support.
Okay.
And I looked up antonyms and synonyms of the word, right? Because I think to understand what families get from support groups, if we hear what the opposite of support is. And the word that stuck with me was repudiate. Sounds pretty bad. And it basically means to feel rejected or opposed or against, right? So I say for families that are in kinship, adopted or fostering families, we do feel a sense of rejection from the natural world, right? Because our families are different. What support groups do for families is they bring us in and they give us that support. We no longer feel rejected because we're meeting families that are just like ours. And it provides an opportunity to talk about the challenges we have that are uniquely ours. So for support, I feel like, I know for my family, it was nice to be heard.
So tell us a little about your family. You're a foster and adoptive mom of how many children?
So I'm a adopted mom.
Yep.
We call ourselves auntie mommies because we are my children's great aunts. And I have 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy.
And what are their ages?
15, 13, 12, 10, and 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing.
What kind of support did you and your family receive? Well, first of all, when did you actually become initially a foster parent, kinship provider?
So my path in kinship care started in 2010.
Okay, so that's 11 years ago.
Yeah, when our first daughter came to live with us.
And what kind of support did you get initially, and what kind of support are you getting now?
So initially, my worker through DCYF, he would try to support us by finding us resources and you know, like clothing and formula and diapers, all those things that going from being a single woman to a parent, you're kind of like, where do I go with this? And just, he directed us in that way. And then we received support from Foster Forward, which is an organization that really, I mean, they really do a lot of scaffolding and supporting a family and like directing us like down a path where the light is, right? There is light, and they really point you in that direction. And they would do things that on the surface may seem like, well, your family could do that for you. But it was different coming from someone who had been down the path before and bringing us in to meet other families who are on the same path, and my children being able to see that this is not something bad that just happened to them. They could see other children living with their grandparents.
That's important.
Oh, it's so important. And for myself and my sister, who we raised the children together, for us to be welcomed like with open arms into this club, I call it, that, you know, kinship care, and everyone was so welcoming, yeah.
So you're a support group facilitator.
I am, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the support groups that are offered through the village and what they are about.
Sure. So the village has started support groups. They had some prior to these new groups that came out, but these focus specifically on kinship.
Okay.
Kinship families, and those are families where children had a pre-existing relationship with the adult. We went over that at the last time.
Yep.
And these groups meet once a month for an hour and a half, usually at night.
Yep.
But,
and they're virtual.
And they're virtual.
Yep.
They're on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, but and for some people, they don't like the video, which is fine. They can sign into the meeting and they can turn their video off. Or there's an option, you could call in, like a conference call, and still be part of the group. And we just try to support and, you know, hear out. We like to say in our group, the Providence group, there's groups all over the state. In our group, the Providence group, we like to say, let's talk about it.
So support is sometimes information.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people don't, you know, when you're new to foster care and it's something that you've never been involved with, like me, when I first got involved, I really didn't know too much or who to call, and I ended up calling a couple of my friends associated with the village. I didn't even know the right questions to ask. So they helped me with that, and they helped connect me initially with the resources that were available, and then I joined a couple of support groups. So support can be information. It can be groups. It could be a peer mentor where you're actually talking to somebody that's already walked in those shoes, that's doing the same thing. How cool is that?
Oh, definitely.
And so how have the support groups benefited you and your family personally?
I think right off the top, it let me know there's nothing wrong with me or my family because I'm seeking support. There's nothing, you don't have a problem to go to a support group. You don't have to have a problem to go to a support group. If you have a problem, that's fine too. But it's like in my church, we would say, come as you are, right? It doesn't matter, just come as you are. And as you go, you may see, oh, I didn't even realize that was a problem. I didn't realize I needed that for my child. So for me, the support groups really were eye-opening to resources, helps, programs. We have so many programs, so many services for children and adults that most people don't know about. And support groups provide that word of mouth that gets the information out there. So for my family and my life, knowing I didn't have to come with something to say, like you said, I didn't even know what questions to ask. I didn't know. And there was fear around, do I ask that question? Because I don't want to get in trouble, right? Being involved with the department. But the support group lets you know, no, there's no trouble you're going to be in. Just let's talk about it and come as you are.
Well, as a parent, you want to do the best job you possibly can, and you want to make sure that you have all of the information to make good decisions about things that will be beneficial to the children.
Yeah, and I think some of the best advocates and the best people to run support groups that are specific to a certain topic are those people that have been through that. Right? Anyone can advocate for anyone, but I think it's something special when I've already gone through the woods and cleared a path for myself and my family. And like Harriet Tubman, I like to go back and bring people through the woods on the path I already cleared. There's no reason for you to come into fostering, kinship or otherwise, and just be left feeling like repudiated, right? Rejected. There's no reason for that, because I've been through it.
Well, there's a couple of things. You know, when last year the village had a grant with Foster Forward to provide some financial support to people that were struggling because of COVID. And if you were involved in any of the village's support groups or on our Facebook page, you would have known that information. You know, so many people say to me now, gee, do you have any more resources available? And we don't. because we exhausted that grant. There's also a swimming program coming up in the next couple of weeks for children that are in foster or adoptive care, and there's an educational program coming up on financial, planning for a child's financial future. You don't know those things unless you're connected with somebody that has that information or through a support group. So, you know, clearly it's access to information and finding out things that you're going to benefit from. It's going to make your life easier, right?
Right.
And you meet people.
Absolutely.
So that's a really big benefit because people become friends.
Absolutely.
And then if you have an issue going on, you have someone that you can call that's already walked in those shoes. That's like key.
Yeah, I really think that's the huge takeaway for me, is those connections that were made with other human beings that are on the same path as me. That really, because those last, and they keep you feeling grounded and connected and like rooted in something, you know. Yeah.
So the groups are virtual now, but when they're in person, how is that different? And you know, we're certainly hoping that we're going to get to in-person groups, you know, maybe by the end of the summer, certainly by the early fall. But how are the in-person groups different than virtual?
Yeah, so I think right off the top, technology is challenging for a lot of people, right? So I think that creates a barrier for some people when they hear it's virtual. And I think not being, we have energy, like right here sitting together, we can kind of feel each other's energy and, you know, so I think being in a room with someone, even if they're not speaking, you could still pick up on their energy, right? And through that, you may, as the group is going on, be able to connect with them on that level. It's something to be said about being around people.
What's the structure, though, of the in-person meetings? So people get together, and typically what happens?
Yeah, so we would come together. It's usually a place close to the community we're servicing. A common area, maybe like a room at a library or a church community room. And the children are allowed to go off and have dinner. And the adults sit and we conversate about resources and talk about our challenges.
So the kids get to be with other kids that are similar to them.
Right.
And they have a fun time.
Yes. And they may do a project too. If something comes up that they're discussing, a problem or something great that's happening in their life, they also do something and they benefit from those connections as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the eligibility for anyone to be involved with the support groups that are virtual right now?
So the group that I facilitate with my sister and those groups through the village, you have to be a kinship family that's fostering or adopted. So you don't have to just be fostering. You could have adopted your children, but your kinship.
All right.
And in this state.
And how do they, where do they go to find out information about those support groups?
So the village has a website, which will show that information later. You can go there and there's a link right on the page. You can sign up for the area of the state that's closest to you. And also the village Facebook page is very informative. It has a lot of information. So you could go on there and sign up. And if you see me on the street, you can ask me.
All right. So people can sign up for your group, Rachel, and connect with you and other people or any of the other groups. And I think people can hop from one group to another. So it's not just that one group.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your information. I know you're an awesome facilitator and a really cool peer mentor. So I hope we get some people that find our website and join your group. So thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Welcome back to the second half of our show, It Takes a Village. And for this portion of the show, we're going to talk about some specialized support that's available to families through a parenting program called Incredible Years. Our guest for this part of the show is Dr. Stephanie Shepard-Umaschi, who is a psychologist and also the director of evidence-based practices at Bradley Hospital. So welcome to the show, Stephanie. I'm so glad to have you.
Oh, I'm happy to see you.
Let's start off by talking about incredible years, which some people just go by IY. So what is IY all about?
Okay, so IY, or Incredible Years, is a program that was developed, 40-something years ago, and it's an internationally recognized program to help provide parents parenting guidance and support. And I like to think of it as, you're a parent, I'm a parent, and oftentimes we go through our days putting out fires. Stop that, don't do that, get down from there, don't pull the dog's tail, don't yell, no running. We spend our days doing that. And so Incredible Years is all about teaching families a positive, proactive approach to parenting. And what that means is teaching kiddos, how parents can learn to teach kiddos how to provide supports to teach children the social skills they need, the emotion coping strategies that they need, and the life skills that they need in order to be successful, so that they're no longer running and yelling and hitting, and so that families can spend the time that they have together doing fun things that build their relationship and not always yelling or setting limits or putting their children in timeout. So it's a real positive approach to parenting. And Incredible Years has been around in Rhode Island for almost 20 years around supporting our community in building these positive parenting strategies. And in the last 3 years, we've been working together to take this program and really adapt it for the specific needs of foster and adoptive families. I was finding that when I was doing these groups in the community, more and more foster and adoptive families were joining our groups, and we really thought together about how the needs are specific and how we could bring those families together to specialize the services for those
So for a couple of years now, you've been working with the village in organizing, first it was in-person groups for families, and similar to what Rachel was just talking about, the children would also come. And so tell us a little bit how that structure was and how it is now.
Absolutely. So yes, we used to come together once a week for 2 hours, and the families would all eat dinner together along with the group facilitators, and it was an opportunity to build community. And it was also an opportunity for the group facilitators to provide support and feedback in live interactions between parents and their children. And after the dinner, the parents would come together and all the caregivers would meet with the facilitators, and the children would go, and you mentioned that they're in childcare, but really it was a specialized service that was provided, where we developed lessons that were provided for the kiddos to learn through their play the same skills that the parents were learning to provide at home. So the children were learning how to wait and share and take turns and label their feelings and manage their feelings. They were all learning that in the childcare through the context of play.
That's awesome.
With trained providers who were taking the same approach that we were encouraging the parents to take. And the parents would meet for 2 hours, and we would watch videos of parent-child interactions and look at some that were great examples of how we might want to be as caregivers, and some where we think, well, that doesn't really fit for my family, that doesn't fit with our values and our goals for our kiddos. How could we change it or adapt it for our families? And then we would actually get on the floor with toys and practice those strategies together as a group and provide each other feedback and encouragement and cheerleading. And then families would go off and do homework activities every week that involved practicing with their kiddos. They'd get a call during the week from the group leader and just to support how they were doing things at home and where they were experiencing challenges. And then we would meet the next week. We've tried to replicate that as much as we can in this virtual world. So we do Zoom meetings an hour and a half a week.
So that's now, virtual?
That is now,
Yep.
yes.
Gotcha.
8 o'clock at night, we
Okay.
meet once a week. We still do our practices. We still do our calls during the week. We still watch the videos. So a lot of it we've been able to maintain. And in terms of the supports for kiddos, we're sending home books and we're sending home materials and instructions on how to do some of the activities so that parents can do those with their children at home.
Is that, I see you have with you
I do, yeah.
the Incredible Years Is that the book that families receive
So
if
yes,
they participate in the program?
Yes, so families receive this book, which is accompanies the program. It's the sort of the Bible of the group. And we also send out lots of handouts of sort of one-pagers that you can just put on the refrigerator as reminders of this is what I need to do. But in addition to that, we send home children's books. So for example, when we're talking about anger and how to manage anger, we might send home an age-appropriate book for the younger children, an age-appropriate book for the older children, and activities that parents can do to foster practice of what do you do when you're having these big feelings.
Yeah, what are the typical behaviors that parents seem to really struggle with the most with children?
Okay. So in terms of those behaviors, we hear a lot in terms of, generally, managing big feelings. Anger, frustration, disappointment, sadness, loneliness, worry. And those come out in young children as behaviors. And so we, parents talk a lot about hitting, yelling, not listening, not following directions, temper tantrums, those sorts of things. And what we work on with parents is how do you manage those behaviors, but also how do you understand those behaviors as communication of underlying feelings, and how do you help kiddos learn to manage those feelings? So those are the biggies.
Okay. So who can participate in IY now, and how do people get involved right away?
So the groups that are available through the village are available for foster, kin, and adoptive caregivers who have children between the ages of 3 years and 8 years. So we really work hard to make sure that we congregate families who have similar age children and make the program fit the developmental age of the children, because it will look different how you are approaching a 3-year-old than an 8-year-old. So anyone in that age range can participate. And the nice thing about virtual is you can be anywhere in the state and log in.
What's some of the feedback that you get about the benefits that the program has provided to families, or how their lives have changed by participating in the program? What kind of comments have you received?
I'm glad you asked that. I was just talking to a caregiver last night, 2 nights ago, who's participating currently in the group, and she said she loves the group because she feels like it's a reset every week, that it reminds her of all the ways in which her relationship with her child is going to be the foundation for managing some of the challenges that they're having. And it's just a reset in terms of being positive and noticing all the wonderful and great things that her children are doing, and really paying attention to those and reinforcing those, and no longer focusing on those fires that are making everybody stressed. So she loves that reset that she gets every week. And I think that's what I hear a lot, that children's behavior is improving quite a bit. They're listening at home, they're following directions, they're more calm. They're more likely to use their gentle hands and their walking feet, all the things that we want. But that the caregivers are saying they feel less stressed, they feel less overwhelmed, they feel like they have a plan, they feel like they have direction on what to do. Because it's in those moments when you don't feel like you know what to do that you make choices that might not be in the best interest of your family, and might not be the best for the kiddo. Those are the times that you tend to do that, when you don't have a plan. So parents come out feeling like they have a plan, they feel more confident, and just getting back to a place where they enjoy being with their kids, and loving their kids.
And again, it's another connection for families to meet other families that have similar issues. It might be some friendships that form as a result of the connection, being involved with the group. What if somebody can't participate weekly in a group? Is there anything coming up that's a different format than those particular organized groups that you already have in place?
So I will also say that families are welcome to participate in the groups, even if they might not be able to come every week.
Okay.
We encourage them to come as they can. But we have also developed a short version of the Incredible Years. We're going to call it Incredible Years Lite or something like that, where it's a 4-session program, and it's meant for a few reasons. One is for families who can't come every week, or who might not be available on the days and the times when the program is offered, or who are waiting for the first session to begin. So they're on the waiting list, they want to participate, this is just something to carry them forward. And then finally, it's for families who have already participated in the Incredible Years and they just want a booster, and just a little reminder and a little reset. So again, 4 sessions.
And when will that start?
That will start at the end of April.
Okay.
So we're recruiting now.
Great. And how can people find out more information about it?
So the information can be available on the Incredible Years website.
Okay.
So that will tell them about the program, the Incredible Years, and the years and years and years of research behind it from all over the world. And that's incredibleyears.com. You can also purchase the book through that website, or even just on Amazon. For families who can't make it to the group, they can buy the book. Or you can call the village office, and I know you'll put up that phone number where folks can call and talk to a member from your organization who can tell them more about the group.
Okay, I think, you know, lots of times children that are in foster care are experiencing difficulties, trauma as a result of their lives being changed. And so this is a really awesome resource to be able to offer families. Is there a charge for the participation? There
actually is no charge. This particular set of groups is being funded through the Rhode Island Foundation.
Okay.
They're supporting all the supports that surround these groups.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really great. I know I myself participated in one of the online sessions. We had gone and had an in-person session, which was really fabulous, because to have the activity in the other room, and it was about feelings, and it was about sharing and friendships and what that means, was really cool. And then COVID happened, so it kind of changed everything around, but the virtual groups have been in existence. They're going well. So you have this 4-session series coming up in April, as you said. And then are there other longer groups planned for in the spring or the summer or the fall?
Yes, so we're going to be offering our next series, hopefully starting in June. So that will be for parents of preschool-aged kiddos.
What age is that?
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5.
And then we most likely will be offering 2 groups in the fall, one for the 3 to 5 and one for the 6 to 8 group. So we'll run those in the fall and then again in the spring. We like to offer 2 at a time, twice a year, and then do the summer groups as we can.
How many families are typically in a group?
So typically about 10 to 12 families. Okay. So it really is a nice opportunity for families to connect. And I get pictures and stories about families who have reunions years after their group, where they keep coming together because they feel like this is a group of families that understands them, where they can connect at a different level, and their kiddos can play together, and it's okay if it doesn't go perfectly, and they know that they will get the support from other families. So I get pictures of them and play dates and all kinds of wonderful things. It's a great opportunity for families to get to know other families like themselves. That's
great. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming to our program today. Really hope that everybody in the audience has found this segment of It Takes a Village to be helpful. And we encourage you to check out the credits at the end of this show for more specific information on Incredible Years, as well as the support groups that we talked about with Rachel, and other information relating to the village. So thank you very much.